What did a friend do that instantly made you catch feelings? I never understood how people could suddenly catch feelings for someone they'd been friends with for years. Then my best friend Noah ruined that theory in about 30 seconds. We'd been friends since freshman year of college. He was the person I called when I was having a terrible day. The person who knew exactly how I took my coffee, and unfortunately, the person who had seen me cry over a statistics exam. So obviously I had never thought of him romantically. Until one Thursday night. I was studying in the library, completely exhausted, when I realized I'd forgotten my charger at home. My laptop was at 12%, my phone was at 4, and I had an assignment due at midnight. I texted Noah, "Please tell me you're awake." He replied almost immediately, "What's wrong?" I explained. 5 minutes later, he walked into the library carrying my charger, a coffee and a sandwich. I stared at him. "How did you even know I hadn't eaten?" He shrugged. "You always forget when you're stressed." Then he plugged in my laptop, put the coffee beside me, and started walking away. I called after him. "Wait, aren't you staying?" He turned around. "No, you have work to finish." "Then why did you come all the way here?" He looked genuinely confused. "Because you needed me." And that sentence hit me harder than it should have. Not because it was romantic, because it wasn't. He didn't flirt. He didn't make some dramatic confession. He didn't even seem to realize what he'd just done. He had simply noticed I was struggling and showed up. I tried desperately to ignore the feeling, so I went back to my assignment. 10 minutes later, I looked up. Noah was sitting across the room. He had taken out his own laptop and was quietly working. I whispered, "I thought you were leaving." He smiled. "I said you needed to finish your work." "I never said you had to do it alone." That was it. That was the exact moment my brain apparently decided we'd been idiots for 3 years. Suddenly I started noticing everything. How he remembered tiny details I'd forgotten telling him. How he'd walk on the street side of the sidewalk without thinking about it. How he'd send me pictures of stupid things because he knew they would make me laugh. How he'd always wait until I got inside before driving away. And worst of all, I realized he'd been doing those things for years. I was just too stupid to understand what they meant to me. The next morning I tried acting normal. Noah walked into our usual coffee shop and placed my drink in front of me. "Extra caramel, right?" I stared at him. He frowned. "What? Nothing?" He sat down. Then he reached across the table and wiped a tiny piece of foam from the corner of my mouth. "You're a mess." My entire brain stopped functioning. He laughed. "Why are you looking at me like that?" I finally admitted, "I think I have a problem." He went completely still. "What kind of problem?" I looked down at my coffee. "I think I like you." There was a long silence. Then he smiled. Not surprised. Not confused. Just relieved. "Finally," he said. I looked up. "Finally?" He nodded. "I've been waiting for you to figure that out for almost 2 years." I wanted to disappear. 2 years? He laughed. "You're really bad at noticing things." And that's how I accidentally fell in love with my best friend. Not because he suddenly became charming. Not because he did something dramatic. But because for the first time, I realized that the person I'd always called when I needed someone had quietly been choosing me the entire time.